My name is Ethan, and what I'm about to share happened to me and my cousin Ryan about a year ago during the summer holidays. Ryan had come to stay at our place for a few weeks while his parents traveled abroad. The weather was miserable for most of the time, constant rain and gray skies, so we ended up stuck indoors, passing the time with video games in my room. At first, it was fun. We laughed a lot, battled each other in racing games, and snacked non-stop. But after several days of being cooped up inside, I started to get annoyed. Ryan, on the other hand, seemed perfectly content, not caring about how messy the room was getting or how repetitive it all felt. One Saturday afternoon, while my parents were away on a short beach trip for the weekend, I suggested we should do something different, maybe go outside for a bit. "Come on," I told him, "let's do something exciting. It's boring in here." He looked out the window and frowned. "It's still raining, man." "So what?" I grinned. "That just makes it more fun. Let's go on an adventure." Ryan shook his head lazily and mumbled, "Nah, I'm good." I sighed. It seemed nothing could convince him to step outside. A little while later, though, the rain started to ease up. I saw my chance. "Now can we go?" I asked, trying to sound upbeat. "I have an idea. Let's check out stuff with my dad's telescope." His eyes lit up a bit. "Really? Can we?" I hesitated. My dad kept his telescope in his study, and we were strictly told not to mess with it. It was expensive and delicate. "It's risky," I said. "He'll kill me if something happens." Ryan grinned confidently. "Don't worry, dude. I've got one just like it at home. I know how to handle it." I gave in. I wanted out of the house badly, and figured if we were super careful, it'd be fine. I agreed, but made Ryan promise we'd be extra cautious. In seconds, he grabbed the tripod and telescope like a soldier carrying gear and hurried to the door. Meanwhile, I double-checked that all the windows and doors were locked before following him out. We walked a few kilometers until we reached a wide, empty hilltop with an open sky view. The clouds were still thick and rolling fast, but the visibility was decent. We set up the telescope and pointed it upward. "Give it a minute," I told him. "The clouds will probably clear." I leaned in to take a look, but before I could, Ryan shoved me aside and peeked in first. "Wow," he said. "Look down there. There's some kind of old graveyard behind that stone fence." I looked where he pointed. Sure enough, there was a small cemetery nestled near the woods. No chapel or church around. "Don't graveyards usually have a church nearby?" he asked. "There used to be one," I replied, "but it collapsed years ago. Storm or fire? I don't remember." Without warning, Ryan took off running down the hill toward the graveyard. "Hey, where are you going?" I called out. "Come on," he shouted back. "Let's check it out." I grabbed the telescope, grumbling to myself, and carefully jogged after him, trying not to slip on the wet grass and mud. I was terrified I'd trip and ruin the telescope. By the time I made it to the old stone wall surrounding the graveyard, I couldn't see Ryan anywhere. "Ryan?" I called out. "Where'd you go?" It was quiet. The wind rustled through the trees and leaves, and an eerie stillness hung in the air. Just as I was about to call out again, I heard his voice echo from inside the graveyard. "Come in, man, let's explore." "No way," I said, staying outside the wall. "You go ahead." He rolled his eyes and wandered deeper inside. I stood by the gate, arms crossed, watching him disappear into the shadows between headstones. I didn't want to follow. Something about that place didn't sit right with me. Then suddenly, I heard a scream. I dropped the telescope where I stood and sprinted into the graveyard, panic flooding me. My heart pounded as I rushed past old cracked stones and crooked crosses, until I found Ryan standing still in front of a small, moss-covered grave. "Are you okay?" I gasped. "It "Yeah," he said. "Check this out." He pointed to the headstone. The name read, Elta Luane. Out of breath, I blinked at the odd name. "That's what you screamed about." "No," he replied casually. "I just wanted you to come see it. Weird name, huh?" Then, to my absolute horror, Ryan pulled a black permanent marker from his hoodie pocket and started writing on the grave. "What are you doing?" I shouted. He scribbled in bold letters, "My crazy ex." "You can't do that," I snapped. "That's messed up." "It's just a dumb rock, dude," he laughed. "Chill." I was too angry to even speak. "We're leaving, now." Without another word, I marched toward the gate, leaving the telescope behind, too overwhelmed to care. We got home late, soaked and exhausted. Neither of us spoke much. Ryan crashed into his bed while I collapsed into mine, trying to sleep off the weirdness of the evening. In the middle of the night, I woke up to someone screaming. I jumped out of bed and ran to Ryan's room, heart pounding. He was sitting up, drenched in sweat, eyes wide with fear. Building. He was here. He shouted. The woman? The one from the grave? I rolled my eyes. "Are you seriously doing this right now?" He didn't answer. He just turned his neck slightly, revealing deep red marks that looked like claw scratches. Suddenly, I wasn't so sure it was a joke. Ryan spent the rest of the night on his laptop, researching. I asked what he was doing. "Looking up how to get marker off of stone," he muttered, "and maybe how to undo this. I read somewhere that spirits can get angry if their graves are disrespected." The next morning, without even eating breakfast, we went back to the graveyard. Ryan cleaned the headstone thoroughly and left flowers. He even whispered an apology. "I'm really sorry. I didn't mean anything by it," he said to the empty air. From that day onward, nothing unusual ever happened again.